justice for all victims of police violence. Mic check, mic check.
Mic check. 502.
Mic check. 502.
502, yes.
502,
I was
my
going to say, don't take us back. Uncle Bill beat me to it, but yes, this is 502. Yeah, it's been a very long time, and we definitely can't go back. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Tonight we have a special guest. And her, we're gonna play the video that we always play week after week. One of the out of the 17 that started brutally executing my brother Tyrone West, 2013. So if you can stay tuned, hold on to the first part of the video. Be back to you guys shortly. Thank you so much. Mic check.
Mic check.
Can't stop. Won't stop. Till killer cops or in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following newly released video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why would you do that? Why would you say that?
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz. In a newly released video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one. Concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up. No.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly.
Picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck.
I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, Sid, what's wrong with it? Improper way with it. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah, let me get it up.
Profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Oh, so do me a favor, take out your keys.
Yeah, you can record me. For what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What do you call a supervisor? I'm about to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we're getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardez Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West. July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 to 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
Mic check, mic check.
Mic check.
Check.
My check. Yeah, so everybody for tuning in, and thank you, Brother Ben, for tonight and broadcasting. And it makes me really sad knowing this is 502. Like literally for 502 weeks, we've been fighting that we have not yet received, and it's disgusting. And to know that Ruiz is a ticking time bomb, you know, is, to brutalize people in the community. And then when witnesses, they're always threatened and they're always told to back the F up. The same thing can exactly what he told, witnesses that try to save the F back in the house. The same thing could happen to you. That's the same exact thing. Alarm case. Back the F up. The same thing can happen to you. And that's what he did in 2015 around the time, well, it happened in 2015, but it didn't surface until after the George Floyd was brutally murdered with Derek Chauvin's knee on his things that the world were watching. This certain instance of police brutality is right there when he was telling the same thing, the same MO. Back the F up to happen to you as he kneeled down on another brother's knee. Like, this is the guy that he was made, like he was promoted. He got full and literally a pay raise and also a big promotion to a sergeant. Like literally when he murdered my brother, one of the 17, that's why I'm highlighting him, because he was one of the first one. I want every last one of them, even though I'm focused on him, I want every last one of those stinking, including his partner that was out there with him at the car, Nicholas Davis Chapman. He's another repeat violent offender. I want Lee, I want all of those murders. I want David Killer Lewis from Morgan State, last one of them, to be in a cell block. Like literally, and that is the whole Wednesday was born. But tonight, we have a beautiful guest. He's been like timelessly standing on corners, for my brother, but literally for different victims of police brutality. When they did the chat and chew for Marilyn Mosley and Davis Jr., but this sister queen threw her body in front. The crazy part, when all this occurred at the chat and chew, we were out there peacefully protesting. They had Marilyn Mosley in a big SUV and literally could have rolled and recklessly onto the sidewalk to like ride past us because of, like, the things that go on. But again, and the reason why like throw Marilyn Mosley under the bus, even though she definitely need to be under there, Davis Jr. But the fact that the reason why I'll give her a little bit of the is the fact that even though none of the killers that murdered Freddie Gray, nothing fact that she did, do something that we haven't never saw before. A prosecutor that goes after police officers if they were right or wrong, even though I had to prosecute when she had the 6 killers that murdered Freddie Gray. But the fact that she did something and hate us so much, that's why all the spike in murders happened. Gray was brutally executed, and literally my family was out there 2 years before. I'm sorry, yeah, 2 years before Freddie Gray happened, and we kept telling them we don't want enough. Telling them if you don't correct these dangerous behaviors of these killer cops, then that's going to become of it, and that's exactly what it was. And then, but the fact when she went to go prosecute that murdered the FOP got mad, Lottie Dottie, and everybody for her. And I'm just going to be honest, I'm being very transparent. You state's attorney, that seems like he's siding and riding with the police. And that's why I feel some type of way, because Darnell Rochester was murdered for gorgeous baby, an 18-year-old, with killer cops that jump scared babies, scared teenagers. He's supposed to have been graduating. Miss Danielle should only child. But the fact that we had the state's attorneys say, you know what, the cops that killed Darnell Rogers, that's a smack in the face. And I took that very, how I felt when Greg Bernstein told my family the same disrespectful stuff, but try to push my family and guide my family into a lawsuit, change up his hind parts. Nobody's not about no income. It's always, and at the end of the day, if you murder our loved ones, if someone murders me, you better take care of them, grown and all. So if anything ever happens to me, it is you snatch me away, a provider. You snatch a provider away. And so when you get out settlements for their children and the family, you're not doing us a favor. That's our money. And then for these killer cops to serve and protect, but they are murdering us. And it's the but just back to my queen, with everything going on with the month to celebrate, women. And I was just celebrating, and I want to give a big shout out to Anson. He really made my day. He was celebrating, and it was just so beautiful. And for him to actually do a gorgeous of me, like I'm still blown. Like it looks like I couldn't believe it, because I'm like, I done had my portrait drawn before, and literally like when my brothers, he drew my picture, he was the only one that could captivate me. But anybody else picture, they always make my face look extra fat. But I'm like, oh my God, cry. Like he did not only an amazing job on me, but he did a beautiful sister. I call her Miss Ceasefire, the Miss Ceasefire. Erica, he did an amazing job, like on Erica. Every woman that of, like you couldn't put a price on it. Like it's priceless. It's like he did an amazing job. So if you guys want to go and see that exhibit, it's going to be there. All guys listening to me right now, and they have that link or the information, that flyer, please, so that way people can go and see it. Like it's free. And from my understanding, it's from like to I believe Sunday. Tuesdays to Sunday, if I'm correct. But I just can't wait to Anson open up his own art gallery. And that was the dream. And that's why, like, every time I see Anson and his beautiful wife, it chokes me to see my brother. And then my brother potentially marrying someone, doing their thing and we're just so happy, and he's making us proud. They stole, but I can go on all night, but I won't. But I'm gonna bring on my beautiful sister Queen Ganson. She's got a good heart, soul, like she's all that and plus some. But I just warrior queen sister. So no further ado, I'm gonna bring on the warrior queen.
Oh, solid piece, everyone. Thank you so much, Tawanda, for that amazing introduction. And of course, first and foremost, I always want to thank you for making space for me to contribute to the longstanding West Wednesday Coalition's fight to demand the killer cops, Jorge Bernardez Ruiz, Nicholas Chapman, and David Lewis be jailed. I also want to recognize your contributions to the larger movement of challenging police terrorism, not only here in Baltimore City, but across the nation and the globe. I want to acknowledge the community of individuals who have remained committed to supporting Tawanda and her family, along with the countless other families that have been impacted by police terrorism. Now, the values and principles infused throughout this formation over the past 10 years needs to be replicated and erected in the face of the perpetual wars, the imperialist, settler, colonialist, and capitalist garrison state that is the United States wages with the tools of white supremacy, racism, sexism, transphobia, xenophobia, and classism, to name a few, to subjugate and oppress and murder en masse the working class. Now, the women and fellow organizers of the West Wednesday Coalition struggled during International Women's Day and every day alongside countless women in Cuba, Haiti, Ukraine, Palestine, Nicaragua, Atlanta, Georgia, Jackson, Mississippi, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Peru, Germany, the Philippines, and countless other countries that are suffering the violence of police terrorism, economic violence through sanctions, and military interventions. It is imperative that we support the women and girls in our communities across the gender spectrum, and we do not allow this violent state to utilize divisive tools to separate the working class's fight towards a world that is informed by a people-centered human rights framework and socialism. Now, over the last 7 months, I have engaged in rigorous study with the Black Alliance for Peace, an organization that seeks to reinvigorate and redevelop the historic anti-war, anti-imperialist, and pro-peace traditions of the radical Black movement. It is through organizations like Black Alliance for Peace that I have come to understand that the police terrorism we are suffering that stole Tyrone West and countless others away from their families and communities is a tactic of the occupying military in our communities, the police. If we understand the definition of strategy to be an action plan to achieve long-term goals or a final end goal, and tactics to be the individual steps and actions that will achieve the end goal, we can better understand that police terrorism, which is violence meant to intimidate oppressed working class peoples, is one of the many tactics used by the imperialist white supremacist state to strangle resistance movements seeking to liberate working class people of all races, genders, and abilities. Throughout time, all peoples who have been repressed have risen up, and women have and continue to have a vital role in these revolutions, and the West Wednesday Coalition to hold killer cops accountable is no different. In fact, what has been forming over the last 10 years due in response to the murder of Tyrone West by killer cops Jorge Bernardez Ruiz, Nicholas Chapman, and David Lewis is vital to the self-defense networks oppressed people, especially working class Africans, need during a time of increased militarized police terrorism and, quite frankly, perpetual genocidal warfare. We cannot reduce this perpetual genocidal warfare only to the occupying armed forces paid for by our taxpayer dollars. We must also understand the terrorism of police, military, and imperialist violence is wielded through a type of sanctions, deprivations of social, economic, and human services from the inhabitants of the United States internal colonies. For example, in 2001, taxpayers in Baltimore City County paid $9.6 billion to the total cost of war. Our hard-earned labor is extracted from us via taxes and used to kill us and deprive working-class peoples of our well-being and our right to self-determination. Our labor is violently extracted from us to pay for the total cost of war and arm our local departments with military-grade weapons through initiatives like the 1033 program, which allows surplus weapons to be sold to local police departments. Additionally, our taxpayer dollars are used to facilitate the Deadly Exchange Program, in which U.S. police and military officials share hyper-militarized policing techniques and technology to learn how to better suppress working-class black and brown communities with Israeli and military personnel. Consider the $797.7 billion taxpayer dollars that was allotted to the Department of Defense for the 2023 fiscal year, or the $200 million that is going to support Israeli cooperative procurement programs to secure weapons like Iron Domes or David slings and arrows. Instead of our taxes, $9.66 billion of our precious labor being used to kill us and oppress people in the global South, they could have been used for 1 year to employ 97,079 registered nurses, fund 834,639 public housing units, create 221,041 jobs that pay $15 an hour, employ 89,021 elementary school teachers, create 55,999 clean energy jobs, fund 206,094 Head Start slots for children, fund 248,484 scholarships for university students, fund low-income healthcare for 3.1 million children, or power 22.76 million households with wind power, or 25.6 million households with solar energy. Instead of our taxpayer dollars going to fuel police and military terrorism in Palestine, Africa, South America, the Philippines, or Ukraine, we could be using that money to address the 8,000 Black people killed in intracommunal violence through youth violence prevention programs, job creation programs, public health initiatives to address domestic violence and child abuse, or adequate mental health and substance abuse programs. Yet, those who hold the most power, the imperialist, capitalist colonizers of all genders, races, and sexes, would rather extract our labor, use our taxes to maintain and embolden this violent apparatus that executes African, Latino, Indigenous, Asian, and white people without pretense of a trial, jury, or judge. They would rather maintain a system that executed a Black person in 2012 every 28 hours when we only comprise less than 50% of the population in the United States. Now, March 9th is the National Day of Action Against Police Terrorism in the wake of the violent murder of Tyre Nichols, of the violent execution of land defender against Cop City, Puerto Rico, of the Palestinians murdered at the Jenin refugee camp by Israeli occupation forces, and countless others who struggle against the violence of the police, the military, and the state in pursuit of self-determination, collective liberation, and peace. I welcome you all to attend the online panel discussion, Countering Colonial Policing in U.S. Domestic Colonies, that Black Alliance for Peace is hosting online via Zoom. Those who are interested can visit bit.ly/colonial policing and engage the reading Operation Ghetto Storm, 2012 annual report on the extrajudicial killings of 313 Black people by police, security guards, and vigilantes, issued by the Malcolm X grassroots movement in 2013. I call on Ivan Bates, Wes Moore, Brandon Scott, and those in City Council to be more than tools of repression for the violent imperialist, white supremacist, colonialist powers, and support the fight of families and communities to hold killer cops accountable and facilitate justice for Donnell Rochester and his family. I call on residents of Baltimore City, of Maryland, to support families who have lost relatives, friends, and loved ones to police terrorism, because the repression and perpetual genocidal warfare will not stop unless we are organized. It will not stop unless we have a common understanding that imperialism and capitalism are the systems we must dismantle, because from those
From them flows the evils of racism, ableism, xenophobia, heterosexism, whorephobia, adultism, environmental degradation, literally all that we despise. Once we have raised the consciousness of the masses in our communities while creating self-defense networks to shield our communities against the ongoing onslaught of violence, we will be better equipped to build a better world, a world where the superabundance that already exists will be equally shared amongst us, a world where our human rights are honored and our material needs are met. We have seen for more than 500 Wednesdays how Tawanda Jones, the women of the West Wednesday Coalition, fellow organizers and community members have contributed to the self-defense network formation. I ask those who are listening, what will you contribute to the struggle for collective liberation and peace? Or, as the Black Youth Project 100 Choir sang on their debut album, what side are you on, my people? What side are you on? And it better be the freedom side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Queen. So at this moment, I'm going to see if our brother Marcellus is in queue to read any questions or comments that are, posted now on the screen. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
I don't think Marcellus is with us this evening.
Was anyone available to take his place to read some of the questions and comments? Mic check.
Brian, can you do that, or Ben?
Well, I wouldn't ask Ben because he's like hosting, so I don't want to put that pressure on him. Brian, are you available to do that? And then I really don't want to, I wish I could see it to alleviate the pressure, but my screen is small and
I can give it a shot here. Let me pop into. There we are, and give me just a second to get this. So I haven't been. There we go. Plenty of people talking today. All good. So we started up. Angela, Bruce, and Judah all said mic check and good to be here. Bill said honored to be here for West Wednesday and the important ongoing struggle against racist police terror. Let's see. Robert Farrell said peace fam. Ricky Ryan sent a little heart for us. AC Britt said mic check. Ricky Ryan says end the 1033 program at Morgan State. Smiley sends mic check. Robert Farrell says justice for Donnell Rochester. Bill says yes, accountability for Donnell's family. Robert Farrell says Bernstein, Mosby, Bates, they all the same. And Ricky Ryan says prosecutors are cops. Judah says, speaking of the portrait behind that Tawanda is there with, she says, it's such a stunning portrait. I'm trying to go to see it in person later this month. I was sorry to miss the opening. Bill says, I plan to go see Anson's show as well. And then AC Britt says, West Pennsylvania Avenue in Towson. The women's exhibit is going to be going on for most of the month. Ricky says, Gasso, bap, bap, bap. Then AC adds, apparently talking about Anson's gallery, it's called Cat C Gallery. And let's see if I can get this to go. Oh, there we go. And Judy says, I just checked and saw a news article that says the exhibit will be on display at the Cat C Gallery on West Pennsylvania Avenue in Towson until the end of the month. Robert Farrell says, shout out to BAP. I guess that's BAP. And then Ricky Ryan says, BAP, BAP, BAP. Robert Farrell says, look at Cop City right now. Bill says, yes, exactly. The stealing of life by police is a tactic of the capitalist state's suppression of the working class. AC Britt says, yes, sister brought receipts. And make it clear, Gusso. Let's see. Excellent presentation. Robert Farrell, that's the understanding that's missing. Ricky Ryan, BAP don't miss. And that's what's up, Gusso. Thank you. I think that was Smiley, and I think that's our last. Yes, that's our last one for the day so far.
Awesome, and thank you, Brother Brian, for adding that, and thank you, Gasso, for an excellent presentation. You always are excellent, and yeah, so I just wanted to also see if my sister Angela was still in queue. Angela is the sister of Timothy Flemings that was murdered going on 2 years ago, and they still do not have Timothy Fleming's autopsy report, which is utterly disgusting. Like, we should be shutting City Hall, the medical examiners, all these industries down ASAP, because, like, imagine, God forbid, if it was one of your loved ones and you can't even get the autopsy report. I never heard of such. Like, it literally took 154 days for my family to retrieve ours, and that felt like 154 centuries. So I couldn't imagine, and don't ever want to imagine, waiting 2 years for something that don't even take 2 days. Like, that is ridiculous. And then it gets even worse because the babies, Timothy Fleming's babies, are still in that home suffering. I know how it felt for me, literally for my family. For, like, I have family members that won't even go back to the place where my brother was murdered on Kentmore and Kelsway Avenue. They won't dare go back there. But I only go back there because if there's new evidence, or the evidence that's missing or stolen by the Baltimore City Police Department and Morgan State, because there were video footage of my brother being murdered, which I don't ever want to see, but I do want it to be, brought to surface, because it's sad that we become a complacent people, that we have to see someone being violated, terrorized, demised before we actually say, oh, this happened. We can't take a dozen or more witnesses, even though there were 32 witnesses, but Detective Delgado decided to dismiss the rest of them. He only took a dozen, but I guarantee you, if my brother was the murderer and he did what was done to him, he would have took all 32 plus. He probably would have been going canvassing the whole entire neighborhood, getting additional witnesses and not discrediting anyone. This is a dirty system, and I'm sick of it. But I just wanted to check in and see if my sister Angela is in queue before we go to our sad list and things of that nature. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Mic check. Sis, you just said it all. I don't have much more to say other than what you. And it's sad that we are here at 502 weeks for West, fighting for accountability for your brother Tyrone West. Now that in itself is also sickening, and it needs to be held accountable for that. Mic check.
Mic check. And I want to check in real quick, sis. Did your family get the autopsy report yet? I just have to ask you, and I just want you to let the world know if you guys got the autopsy report yet or not.
No, sis, we haven't received anything. We haven't received an autopsy report, and like you said, the kids are still in that home. Myself to even go to that home, I try when I come to that city, but it's very hard for me to do. And I know my nephews are there, and it's hard for me to even see them there. So just please continue to pray for my nephews in that home. Mic check.
Mic check. And I'm sorry to make you relive or to rehash that horrible thing, but I just want the world that is listening right now, people that are listening right now, to know how real and how, dishonest the system is, how it doesn't have any integrity, how these people that we vote to be in office just doesn't do anything for us. Like, literally, we had to chase people down. Yeah, they don't care. They're on with their life. Their family is good, so they don't care. But it's just sad that your family is suffering like that. And I just wanted to give you a personal shout out, sis, and just let you know that I love you. Keep doing the work that you're doing, and that your brother, is definitely proud of you. And, it's just sad. And this sister Queen does not live in Baltimore. She literally drives 4 hours here. 4 hours. And most of the time when she come in, no matter what the weather is, guess what? It always rains. And if that's not a sign of the sickness, like I always say, rain, to me, rain is rain. That's just a part, of the weather system and things like that. But it just like reminds me, like I feel like every time it rains, I get, a little bit sad, and I start thinking about, things extra hard, and it just puts you in a different mood. And I just really be feeling like symbolically our loved ones are crying because of everything that's going on here. And it's just like every time she goes to enter this city, I don't care if it's 100 degrees in the summer, I don't care what season we're in, it always rains. And if that doesn't speak in volumes for me, yes, it's real. But again, my sister, we're here, and that's just so disgusting. And like I said, me, and it's not the West Coalition, this is Tawanda Jones. I believe that God looks up, looks down, and sees everything that's going on, and everybody has their day. They might seem like they're getting away with it right now, but they won't get away with it. Everybody has judgment day, and unfortunately, there's something called karma. I don't wish bad luck on anyone, but I do wish karma. Whatever you put out in this universe, you deserve it back. So that's why treat people with respect, treat people with love and integrity, and you'll reap what you sow. That's just it with me. It's just sad. And then really, my sister, I'm just really looking at too, like since I talked about the uprising, and I talked about, when Marilyn Mosby took the position to charge these killer cops, and how they threw her completely under the bus because she took such a stance. And we never seen any state's attorney that, even though they all are devils and they sell their souls, it's just utterly sad and disgusting. But I just look at who was at that front line. It was our babies. It was the teenagers that was up there standing in the front line. And now it's the teenage babies that they're going at. They don't want to help these babies. These babies are getting murdered. Babies are not even safe going to school. And the news media want to tell you half truths. It was another 16-year-old baby killed that wasn't doing nothing, that I heard was a good student. Wrong place, wrong time. But how can you be in the wrong place when you send your baby to school? That shouldn't be a wrong place. That should be a good place. But again, bullets don't have names. It's sad that they can't be in the, environment of their school. They can't go outside and sit in the park, or, go by the playground, or just different things, basketball court, things of that nature, or even go across the street to a local restaurant to get lunch without being gunned down. It is sick. And it's sad that the mothers, especially our African American mothers, our brown mothers, have to worry about when we send our babies to school. And it's sad. No mother shouldn't have that fear, worrying about, oh my God, is my child going to get home from school or not? And it's so sad and disgusting that literally, and I still feel unsafe, because I put my baby in a cab every day to and from. It's breaking my pockets, but I don't care. I will give like everything to make sure that my babies are safe, doing everything that I could possibly do. But even doing that, you can still miss the mark, because now you have cab drivers that target our babies. It's just sick and sad, the stuff that we have to that we're traumatized as human beings, and because we're not treated fair and equal in this world, we don't even have like real freedom to feel like, oh, I'm at peace when my baby walks to school, or get on a bus, or whatever, or even being in school in the cafeteria. You get so scared that if you hear that somebody is like actually getting in an argument that can lead up to a fight, the retaliation is real. Somebody's going to bring a gun to school, or is one of these unknown shooters going just come gun our babies down? Like, it's too much. It's way too much. So I'm praying for and it's not the West Coalition, because everybody in the West Coalition is not religious, and that's fine. But as for me, I'm praying for my city. I'm not only praying for my city, I'm praying for this world, because unfortunately, it's not a Baltimore thing. Because if it was a Baltimore thing, as unsafe as Baltimore has became, I would have been packed my babies up and we wouldn't be here. I'm gonna tell you that right now off the top. We would be in a safe place. But what does a safe place look like in America? Where can I go at in America? In the United Snakes, not states, but the United Snakes, because they're all united. These devils are all united to bring us down. So where can you, me, any of our loved ones go to in America that is safe? Where? Please tell me where. Please tell me where. Like where? Like I honestly want to know. But again, like I give it up to any of our sisters, our brothers, our fathers, mothers, everybody, our ancestors. I give it up just for any and everybody that ever came forth and showed integrity and paid their dues in society. And me paying a due in society is doing right. What happened to I my brother's keeper? What happened to watch your neighbor? And it's just sad. Like, some of us don't even know our neighbors. Some of us don't even, like, if God forbid, if anything happens, we don't even know our neighbors. We walk past them like they're strangers. Some of us do that at our workplace. It's sad. Like, we have to get better. Love goes a long way. It's so much of hatred that is taken over. But it's up to us as human beings. That's why I always say, live to love to live. And I mean it. You have people that'll get mad at you for no reason. You sitting up there wondering why they mad or acting funny, and you haven't done anything but show them love, show them respect. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. I'm not chasing no more waterfalls in 2023. So if somebody don't want to be my friend, if somebody don't want to talk to me or bond, guess what? Deuces. Have fun. Goodbye. Because I'm not. If you don't know who Tawanda Jones is, by now you will never know me. Whether that's man, woman, child, you will never know me. Sometimes you got to let people character speak for themselves, especially if you know somebody got a good heart. And you shouldn't take people that have a good heart for granted. Because guess what? Tomorrow, the day, this second, this moment, nothing is promised to us. But the only thing is promised to us that we do the best that we can do, because this is history. It's his story. It's her story. We're having history. What will your life say about you when it's over? Like our sister Gaston, I can honestly say she puts her body on the line. She comes with truth. She comes with fairness, honesty, and I appreciate that. I haven't known you that long, my sister Angela, but you are the same exact way, and I love you for that. My sister Adina, I love her. Like, y'all do stuff like Hillary, like everybody on here. I love you guys because you all bring something to the table. Like, nobody on here is getting paid, or anything, but yet y'all take your time. Ben takes his time out today. Uncle Bill set up for our guests to be here. Like, everybody is dedicating their time that is priceless. We will never get this moment back again. But the fact that you guys take your time to do stuff from your heart, that's love. That's love. So I just wanted to thank you guys for that. And definitely wanted to check in to see if anybody wants to add to the conversation before we start going to our sad list. Mic check.
Mic check. Tawanda, I just want to add that Judah has asked Angela if there's anything we can do to help her nephews. And it looks like Danielle may be with us tonight. Danielle Rochester's mom. I think she's here. So you might want to see if she'd like to say something too.
Okay. And as I started off and I was talking about our beautiful sister, but I was actually talking about her beautiful baby, and just saying how disgusted I am. And I could even be put, and that's one thing about me, my heart is so big because I will put my truths into everything and don't care if I sell my own self out to make sure that everybody is right. And what I'm saying that to say is, I'm potentially setting up a meeting with our state's attorney, who's probably listening to that. And I just went off and let him know on this line. If somebody want to send it to him, tag it to him, I don't care. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And I really feel some type of way about how he did our sister. Darnell Rochester, life mattered. And it's just sad that they just work for a paycheck and they don't give a damn. So if she is in queue and she wants to speak, because sometimes we could be in queue and we don't want to say nothing, but if she is in queue and she want to speak, the floor is all hers. Mic check.
Mic check.
Check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
First, I would like to say hello to everyone and congratulations on your award, Tawanda, and your painting.
Oh, thank you so much, Queen.
You're welcome, Queen. And I agree with everything you said, like as far as moving out to another state. But it's like if we go there, things can happen there too. But Baltimore is the worst because now I'm just starting to see it's not even people 40 plus. It's always kids that's losing their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Always kids.
Yeah.
And I'm so mad. Yes, our babies. And it's like, what can you do to keep them safe? Because the police not going to at all. And every day is a struggle to just, get that your kid not here. It's hard. And when you take somebody's life for no reason, they not only taking that person's life, but the family have to deal with that grief.
Amen.
And that's the worst part of it all. The person that lost their life and the grief part.
Yes.
So I really appreciate, what you're doing as far as the fight you've been fighting. And I really hope one day your family and everybody family will get justice, even though it's not going to bring our loved one back. But if they locked up, their family won't be able to see them as much.
Exactly. And we'll be
they
able
will
to.
at least.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Queen.
No, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying and we'll be able to at least try to start the grieving process, because in my case, going on 10 years, I have not grieved yet. So I already know that if I get blessed to get any charges, I think I'm gonna cry like a baby, just me thinking about
Yes.
it. Oh my God, just me thinking about me, you, or any of us getting accountability. It brings so much of tears. And those tears is how we grieve and be able to heal. But there is no peace until there's justice. It's none. It's
Thank
never
you.
going to be peace. It's never going to be peace. And I'm so
It's
sorry. Like, I
not.
wouldn't wish your pain on nobody. Like, I know from a sister's standpoint, because my brother, was everything to me. He was my best friend. He was like, my father figure. He was like my mother. He was like everything to me. He helped me raise my kids. Like, he was just everything to me. And he was nothing to those murders, but I wouldn't dare want to feel the pain of losing a child, something that you gave birth to, that you carried in your womb, that you bonded with, when at the moment that you heard his heart beating, sounding like a horse racing across a field. And for us to just, and then to know that your baby was ripped, snatched, and you never know what the future might bring. And we always got to guess or what they was going to be doing or what they could have been doing. That's disgusting. And I'm so sorry for you, but I'm just letting you know, Darnell is so proud of you. And the only content that I get from this is knowing that we are going to see our loved ones again. Because I know that, me as a Christian woman, like I said, this is not a West Coalition, this is Tawanda speaking, but me believing that, our God that we serve, or whatever God you serve, whether you Allah, whoever, just the fact that you serve a higher power will not take us through this type of pain and just abandon us. He didn't bring us this far to leave us astray. So you will see your baby again, and he is proud. Like, we all have work to do down here, but it's not over yet. It's never over. It's never over until God says it's over. That's my just in it.
I agree with everything you just said as far as justice, and I really hope that you get it. I really hope everyone that's fighting this battle get it. But I think what you just said as far as God, we probably can talk another time if you're like.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And
No, thank
thank
you.
you. And you're welcome. And I don't know. like you just said, like losing a brother or losing a son is, but it was still someone that you loved and, knew your whole life.
Exactly.
And all thing that makes me so angry about it is because I will never see, like you just said, my son wasn't a kid.
Right.
He wanted to do things. He wanted to go to California. All of it ripped away from him. I will never see. Only thing I can just imagine, because I know for a fact he would have done those things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad that, you lose your life within 30 minutes and it take forever to get justice. So it's like, that's crazy. Because if I go out here today and kill somebody, I will be arrested.
Yep.
But with these cops, they do it. You got to do investigations. You got to go through trial, like all of these things, and still fight. When you have a whole video footage or witnesses, that is very disgusting and it's evil.
It is. It really is, sister. But if you look at it, sis, we come and that's a whole nother topic, a whole nother show. But we've been going through this type of pain for over 400 plus years. We are hated
Yes.
and when we're in the womb, like we're hated. Like our babies, us, even you, me, we were hated before the day we were born. And it's just sad and disgusting. But again, I just feel like love takes over, and I just, like I said, I love you, my queen. I love the fight that you're doing, and I'm like, I know words is corny and it can never replace giving you back your baby, but I just want to let you know a lot of people look up to you, and I really truly admire you. And not only I admire you, I admire any mother that unfortunately had to go through doing burying their child, because I just believe that our children are supposed to bury us and we'll be good.
Thank
So
you.
just the fact that you had to go through the unthinkable, I just commend you. You our Cheryl. We love you. And if there's anything that we could do, I'm definitely going to do it. And like I said, I'm planning an upcoming meeting with our state's attorney. And again, like I said, I'll throw my own self under the bus before I sell my damn soul out. Like I said, I'm
Right.
unfiltered. I don't work for nobody. I only work for my students in my classroom. But again, I will never sell my soul. I will never sell my soul. And I'm just saying that to say, when I do meet with him and I talk to him about, potentially seeing what he could do, probably, which is going to be absolutely nothing, because he showed me through you. And I was so heartbroken when I read that in the news article and my phone started pinging. And it's like, this is one of the most high profile case, and you walk into it and you just dismiss it. I was disgusted. But then you want to come back the next day or a few days later and say you're free and Keith Davis Jr. Like, no, you need to do everything right. Thank God you free Keith Davis Jr. because he should have been free from day one. Because that's just sad and disgusting. But this is what the system does to us. My brother didn't survive, but Keith Davis Jr. survived to be able to tell his trauma, because he was a victim of police brutality. And what is base going to do that? You freed him. Now go after those cops that try to murder him. Show us. But you're not going to go after those cops. But again, I'm the one that's going to ask him when I go sit up there and talk about my brother. I'm going to first ask him what he's going to do about your son. I'm definitely going to ask him that to his face. And then I'm going to say, oh, and I'm glad you freed our brother Keith Davis Jr. But are you going to go after those killers that tried to murder him? Are you going to go after those stinking animals that tried to murder him, that shot that man? Damn, they shot at him over 32 something times, and thank God the 3 or 4 bullets didn't murder him. That hit him. The 3 bullets that hit him could have killed him. And it's just sad. And then I'm also going to ask him, while I'm standing there, I'm going to ask him, what are you going to do about Tyree Moorhead? This was the brother from he had his thing going on where he was painting the no shoot zones, and he was gunned down by a killer cop, to the point that he put 14 or 15 rounds in him and went to go reload his gun again. They hated him because he spoke truth to knowledge. They hated him. He had so many followers. And my thing is, where's the followers at now? Because we should be shutting stuff down as we're speaking. That is sad. But again, me being who I am, that, like I said, I'm here for every victim, all victims. of police brutality and murder. So when I go up in there, I'm taking everybody with me. Everybody gonna be right on my back like they've been for the past going on 10 years. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. So I got you, my queen. And I love you. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you for tuning in and just being brave. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Love you too.
All
And
right.
I would like to go to that meeting with. We were just talking about that like a week ago, making an appointment, and you just
Okay.
said it.
Okay. Well, look,
Yeah.
we'll talk offline and plan. And yeah, I got you. So yeah, that's how we gonna do it. So all right,
Okay.
sis. All right. Well, this is the
All right.
part that I don't like to do for West Wednesday is read the horrible, sad list of anybody being murdered, whether it's by a police officer or someone on the street. Murder is murder because at the end of the day, when we deal with our loved ones that unfortunately die from sickness, illness, things of that nature, accidents, all that stuff is still heartbreaking and devastating. But you can kind of like, oh my goodness, but when someone is murdered, snatched away, like instantly, you don't have no time to prepare, nothing. That is bloody murder. You cannot wrap your hands, but I cannot wrap my hands around my brother Tyrone West being executed, Darnell Rochester, Timothy Flemings. I cannot wrap my hands around my cousin Tavon Anderson being murdered. I can't wrap my hands around no victims being murdered, whether they're on the police brutality list or the community violence list. And which I say the unsolved list, because at the end of the day, we don't even know if all these that are on the community violence are community violence. We don't know if we got somebody out here purging that just say, you know what, they're going to blame each other. They ain't going to catch us. This is the perfect time to wipe them out. So we have no idea. But in any old way, just let's take 1 minute before we start reading the list. If you pray, say a prayer. If not, that's fine and dandy. Keep these families in thoughts because these could easily be your loved ones. So let's take 1 minute. The time now, I'm a up it to 5, even though it's 7:57. I'm gonna say it's 7:58. We're gonna come back at 7:59 with the list. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you guys so much. The time now is 7:59. Thank you guys, and just thank you guys so much for everything. So now we're gonna turn it over to our brother Brian, who unfortunately has the community violence list. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
So in the past week, we've had one person who died whose name we don't have. We'll circle back around to them when we get it. Other than that, we have 3 lives lost. Each of these lives is a part of a community, part of a world, is a world unto themselves. And so we just want to raise them up and recognize them and draw strength from them for the fight to go ahead. Adam White, 29.
Adam White.
Right, 29.
29.
Adam White.
Kyrie Austin, 20.
Tyree Austin, 20.
20.
Isaiah Carter, 16.
Isaiah Carter, 16.
16.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we're gonna bring Uncle Bill in with the police brutality list. Mic check.
Mic check. So the place from which we get the information about who's been killed by police, it's called Fatal Force, and they've updated it now. We have the names, probably not everyone, because they probably don't find all the cases. And they, as you pointed out, Tawanda, recently, they don't include people who were killed by police who were not shot. So Tyrone would not be on a list like this, and many others. Anthony Anderson would not be on this list. Freddie Gray would not be on this list. But from the 28th of February to the 4th of March, so we're talking about 5 days, 13 people are on this list as having been killed by the police. And we're going to uphold their names now. If everyone could repeat the name to honor these families, that would be wonderful. And when we get to one whose name has not been released yet, Tawanda, would you like to come in at that point?
Absolutely. I was just going to say that. You read my mind.
All right. So on February the 28th in Canandaigua, New York, 31 years old, killed by police, Brandon Zirkin.
Brandon Zirkin.
Also on the 28th in Branson, Missouri, they don't give the age, and it's a man. He was killed by police, Randall Wesolek.
Randall Wesolek.
Once more on the 28th, this time in Charlottesville, Virginia, 44 years old, killed by police, Billy Sykes.
Billy Sykes.
Billy Sykes.
In Roseburg, Oregon, again on February the 28th, a man who has not yet been identified.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. Once more on the 28th, in Washington, D.C., right nearby, 22 years old, killed by police, Alonte Scott.
Alonte Scott.
Alonte Scott.
On March the 1st in Mountain City, Tennessee, 64 years old, killed by police, Tony Smith.
Tony Smith.
Yes.
Once more on March the 1st in Ashburn, Georgia, 25 years old, killed by police, Daniel Scott.
Daniel Scott.
Daniel Scott.
Yet again on March the 1st in Farmington, Utah, 25 years old, killed by police, Chase Allen.
Chase Allen.
And once more on March the 1st in Pueblo, Colorado, a man who has not yet been identified.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe.
On March the 1st, once more, this time in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a man who has not yet been identified.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
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 On March the 3rd in Patterson, New Jersey, 31 years old, killed by police, Najee Seabrooks.
Najee Seabrooks.
Najee Seabrooks.
On March the 4th in Fresno, California, 29 years old, killed by police, Roberto Corchado.
Roberto Corchado.
Again, on March the 4th, and this is the last person whose life was stolen by police that we'll be upholding this evening. It was right nearby in Frederick, Maryland, 44 years old, Joseph Sherrill.
Joseph Sherrill.
Sherrill.
Thank you, everyone, for honoring these victims and their families.
And thank you, Uncle Bill, for uplifting their names as well. Thank you, Brother Brian, for uplifting their names as well. Thank you, Sister Queen Gasso, for bringing truth to knowledge, knowledge to truth. Thank you, all, Sister Queen Danielle, for just having a beautiful heart, being strong, being firm. Thank you, my Sister Queen Angela, we have your back. If nobody don't have your back, we definitely got your back. Remember, the world is full of hatred, but I believe that love can overtake any and everything. Love can overtake any and everything. Remember, live to love to live. I love you all. We can't stop. We won't stop until killer cops are in cell blocks. In the same way, unfortunately, we brought you with the video of one of the first murderers out of the 17. 17, y'all. Unreal. 17 killer cops on one unarmed man, Tyrone West. We're bringing you the part 2 of that video. But most importantly, I want you guys, as you watch this video, please think of ways that we can get this cell block. We can get cell blocks for these killer cops. Think of ways you can help Darnell Rochester's beautiful mom. Think of ways that we can help my sister Queen Angela and Timothy Fleming's beautiful children. Just think of ways you can help. Think of ways you can help me with my 10-year dedication. Just think of ways we can help Anthony Anderson's family, all the victims. I say too many names, too many faces, leaves us no choice but to reopen each and every last one of these cases. Mic check. See you guys next week.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life. And Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5, unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why you
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the Gun Trace Task Force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salam vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the Officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam, and my sister Adina and her family. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender, Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, We the West Coalition call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.